from the Daily Times, Marcus Fitzsimmons and Troy Prove O'Haron.
It's payday, and on payday, you want to have access to your money right away. When you enroll for direct deposit at Knoxville TVA Employees Credit Union, your money comes to you with no waiting. It's the fastest and most secure.
Hello, everybody, and greetings. Bill Gunner, along with Donnie Moore and Marcus Fitzsimmons, and this is the Goatee Sports Page. The Lady Vols. Today's lineup card, sponsored by Blunt Partnership. The University of Tennessee Sports Report, sponsored by the Cherokee Group and the Murphy's Bobcat SEC Notebook. Fitzsimmons and Donnie Moore. Today, we'll put a wrap on the UT basketball season. Tim Caldwell, who will lead the Lady Vols round ball program. Donnie Moore and news from around the area, and then Mark It Down with Marcus Fitzsimmons, sponsored by Mandy B. Street Realty, features Eagleton softball. The Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week segment will Moore returns to discuss headlines from around the sports world before the Boyd Sports Spotlight shines basketball tournament and the college basketball coaching carousel. And finally, the bowl predictions Sports Report and Murphy's Bobcat SEC Notebook, featuring Marcus Fitzsimmons. Donnie Moore, ex-Alcoa basketballer Dwayne Easter is with us this morning. Well, guys, welcome to Goatee's Sports Page, and what a week it's been. A lot of shake-up and a lot of SEC news with John Calipari. So
wow.
It has not been an uneventful week by any stretch of the imagination. This morning with a letter rip, and I'm a little bit upset with the roster changes that's going on over at UT. Huh? I know that's been on everybody's mind here. It off my mind.
Let's rip it
right here early. Hey, what's going on with Tennessee's basketball roster? A few short weeks ago, if not the finest year in volunteer round ball history. It looked returning next year, but players Freddie DeLeon, DJ Jefferson, and Toby Awaka and Jonas Adu have decided to enter the transfer portal in search of a better environment. Hall of Fame coach, a program that prepared them for professional ball, a schedule that gave them basketball arenas in America, a solid NIL perk, one of the best leagues in the country, a great chance for an abundance of playing time next year. I hope they find a place to their liking, but wherever that might be seems like it would be a step down to me. Hey, the bottom line is this. All these players care about are themselves and little regard for anything else. Vol for life, you kidding me? Better come up. Players who run home to mommy in the transfer portal every time something comes around that hurts their feelings and doesn't go to suit them. Guys, I'm not a big fan of what's going on right now.
No.
Huh?
Yeah, that's a big surprise, all those guys deciding to do that. You know, we could possibly get some better players in. Who knows, you know?
Well, I certainly hope so. I tell you, these guys were a part of a great basketball team this year. And you know, and they contributed. At least a couple of them did. They contributed. Where they're going to go to be any more in the national limelight and national spotlight any more than they did right here at the University of Tennessee.
No, absolutely not. I mean, where can you go to get better exposure and play in a better league and prepare yourself for all the things that I just got done talking about?
That's true.
But heck, it's going on everywhere in the country. It's not just going on
No,
here.
it's-
Indiana State almost
Sure.
won the NIT championship.
Yeah.
Their coach goes to St. Louis. They hired a coach last week. He got 2 guys on his roster. How would you like to sign a contract to win a major university and you got 2 guys and you got to go out and get players?
Wow.
It's a crazy, crazy thing, and it's it's happening every year. It's year in and year out. And Tennessee now has 6 scholarships, so their season next year depends on how Dwayne come up with getting players.
Yeah, so how will they go about that? I mean, they go to a lot of things that's going on during the summer. I mean, how do you
No, I guess you just look right now. You just look at the transfer portal.
yeah.
What you got.
They've got somebody in today. But their number one prospect that they have in the portal is here on.
Yeah. Well,
That's kind of how they caught Ziegler, though, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He's playing at one of those AU tournaments or whatever, and saw him. Is
Yeah.
that kind of?
well, I'm going to put us in a tough spot next year if they get some guys that we can't pronounce their names. You know, you get used to pronouncing somebody's name on this show, and then they go out and get a bunch of other players. Can't.
He's talking about he's got a hard name to pronounce.
That's why I didn't name it.
Starts with an N or something.
Yeah. Gets back to that
It
Dizzy
took me
Dean.
long enough to get Vescovy right. So
Gets back to that Dizzy Dean way back in the day when Diz would be announcing and somebody'd come up with a name that was 2 feet long, and he'd say, I'll turn it over to Pee Wee now to tell you all about this next batter. Hardner, come in here and tell him about him.
To Pee Wee.
Yeah. Well, there's a few other things going on over at UT right now that have kind of taken the back seat because of basketball and the advancement in the tournament and the hiring of new lady ball coach and so forth in basketball. But the orange and white spring football game is set to go today. Talked a little bit about this when you came in this morning, but that's kind of been all on the back burner. It's been kind of low key, hasn't it?
well, it is, and it's the changing nature of the game. I know Ray and Lonnie never really were big fans of the way spring football has been about it, because once upon a time, the only people who cared were the people in the and it was they would come out at a press conference, players would talk, they talk about this, they talk about do it on the internet, or you have any open practices, everything you do is up on the net for anybody. So they've clamped down on so much of it that there's no real excitement left. Watch it with all the taming and back, and we don't want to get anybody hurt in spring drill sort of. I mean, spring games.
Do they still have let the players sign autographs and stuff like
On the field, I don't know for certain what their plan is for this year,
Yeah.
but that sort of activity has run into NIL implications.
Yeah.
Because
They're not going to have very many people over there watching the game today. Donnie Moore's going to almost be like a COVID game.
it's going to be
That's
worse
kinda
than a
what I was
COVID game.
There's not going to be anybody there.
There's only, I think there's 99 something seats available, 9,900
Yeah.
seats.
Fewer
and
than
it was sold
10,000
out.
seats,
Yeah.
and it's sold out.
So
Yeah.
basically, if you're going over there today and just figuring out you want to go, or if you're going all early or whatever you're doing,
Yeah.
but all that construction work, which is limiting some of the activities, because I mean that entire site, Riverside's torn up pretty well.
Yeah. Against LSU
Right.
this week over at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. LSU came in struggling a little bit. They're 3-9 in the SEC. Tennessee took care of them last night. They were in third place going into last night's game in the Vanderbilt. So good win for them. They're playing really well at home. They're 20,
It was a heartbreaker.
23-2 at home
Yeah.
so far. This
Tennessee looked so in control, and then and they have to bring somebody in, and they loaded them up again in the game-winning run at bat when Tennessee finally took care of business last night.
Yeah. Softball team, they're 30-7 now, 10-3 in the conference. They're first place going into this weekend series at Mississippi. But Mississippi State got the Lady Vols yesterday.
Got the win, yeah.
Yeah, and they got a Sports Center moment this morning with one of those plays. And State's one of those teams that it's like they've got – it seems to be all they got in the lineup, but they teed off on Tennessee yesterday. And then they're – it's the SEC is a tough place to play for almost any sport, but especially baseball. I mean, there are some SEC teams that are 5, and they've yet to play a team that's not in the top 15.
Softball's a game of momentum anyway. When it swings hard.
Hey, it's a game of pitching.
Sure is.
I mean,
Yeah.
think about
good pitching.
think about the
softball.
I think
You
it was
just throw them
Auburn
every day.
series.
Same pitcher every day.
That's right.
I think it was the Auburn fourth consecutive series they'd had against a top 10 team, and they were all conference series.
Yeah. Hey, I've had this in my back pocket, Dwayne, for several weeks. So
okay.
I looked up, we've been headlining retiring Tony White's jersey over there at UT, and so I did a little research on that. And two programs I looked at was the ACC with a lot of tradition. What are they doing? At Carolina, in the rafters, they're called honored jerseys. And there's 45 of them. 45 of them up there. So these are not your greatest players. These are great players, but may not be the greatest of the greatest.
Exactly.
You see, so they honor MVP as voted on by the teammates of a team. One criteria: member of an Olympic gold medal winning first or second team All-American, ACC Player of the Year, NCAA Tournament Most Outstanding Player. They only have to meet, in order to get honored with a jersey in the rafters, one of those. Not all of them. Just one. So if you were ACC Player of the Year, you're in the rafters.
Wow.
So that
45
of them up there.
Yeah,
all great
that's
players.
all well deserved.
Oh,
too.
yeah. But, to meet all that, but that's how they do it over there at North Carolina. So they've got.
Those are great criteria, and just to meet one of those, I think that's perfectly well deserved.
That's the way they do it. Duke, not so much.
Oh.
At Duke, their criteria for retiring jersey numbers in basketball at Duke, criteria to having a jersey retired. A player must at a national level. In other words, there's no official criteria, but the things we're looking at.
Yeah.
National Player of the Year, National Defensive Player of the Year, set an NCAA record of some kind, win a Olympics, earn All-American honors. And I thought this was interesting. No player is to be retired at Duke unless the player has a degree and has. So that's an addition on that. As a result of that, they only have 4. Number 31, Christian Leitner. 32, Grant Hill. Number 33, and they have 4 jerseys that's retired at Duke.
Wow.
So
Bobby Hurley's not up there.
No. These are
more stringent requirements.
And they only get
Kansas is
only 2 of Leitner's keeps knocking off the ones on either side.
I tried to make heads or tails of place. So I saw a deal where Bill Self, it sounded like they just maybe Bill Self just kind of gets together with somebody and says, well, this guy deserves to have.
North Carolina. I mean,
45.
actually,
at Duke, there's only 4.
I know, but at North Carolina, you said there's like 45.
45. They're not retired jerseys. They're honored
So they don't have retired
No,
jerseys.
they have honored jerseys.
Honored jerseys.
Where the number and the player goes up there, but the
In the concourse versus what they
yes,
the mess they have
that's
in the
correct.
rafters now.
That's correct. And at North Carolina, they put all of them in the arena and not in the concourse.
To me,
45 up there.
45 of those things.
Yeah.
That's pretty, to.
And their actual jerseys.
They're not banners. They're actual. They're like an actual jersey shaped banner.
Enlarged.
They hang up there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
And you can
Larger
do something like
than
that
life.
in Tennessee. This arena is a whole lot bigger than the one over at North Carolina. I mean, as far as the height.
Yeah,
going
Yeah,
up.
sure.
we got a lot of space to put a lot of jerseys.
I don't know. I mean, they're redoing the arena over there at UT. Maybe maybe they're discussing something like that. I don't know.
While you've got this subject up, there's an article in the New Sentinel this week about retiring possibly Connect's jerseys.
Yeah.
Because he's got, first.
I wouldn't vote for retiring his jersey, but I would vote for him being an honored jersey.
Yeah.
Where it would hang up if you had an honored type thing because he meets the criteria.
Yeah.
Along with several others.
Along with several others. So, I think that's from a committee standpoint and a school standpoint, it's a great way to protect yourself because when you're trying to pick 1, 2, 3, 4 players, but if you've got, here's the 6 criteria, and if you meet one, and it's high criteria, All-American, MVP, to meet one of those, there you go.
Yeah.
And makes your job a whole lot easier.
Lot
hey,
easier.
we're adding another jersey up there. And it's
Sure
impressive. So, I don't know.
yeah.
That's just my own opinion.
I think
and that's what it's worth.
I think there should be a lot of them up there myself.
But now, you're here we are with Tony White, and you're politicking to try to get his jersey hung in there. You shouldn't even have to be doing what's already in there.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
if you've got an honored jersey, he's up, and he's been up for a long time in there, so to speak. But anyhow, I thought it was kind of interesting.
That's interesting.
I've had it in my back pocket, and I thought, I'm sorry Tony wasn't here this morning.
Well, Tony apologized for not being here, but hopefully he'll be here next week.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, let's talk about the hiring of Kim Caldwell. The new lady Vol basketball coach. I believe she'll be the fourth coach.
Fourth in the NCAA era.
And she had Marshall, 26-7 at Marshall last year. She was 17-1 in the Sun Belt Conference there. She was Sun Belt Coach of the Year. She took Marshall to the first NCAA tournament appearance since 19. And that's all of her Division I experience. She Glenville State, 6 regular season conference titles there, a national title in 2022 there. Her overall coaching record, 217-31. Conference game, she's 149-13 for 92%. We got Danny White over there, the athletic director at UT. I hate to go against any of his hires. Because he's done a great. He hired
he's done a great.
Unless what's Nado's done, he's gone to Alabama and taken them to the final. But in some respects, I think it's a little surprising on the pick here because of the fact that she won experience. I think they got a bargain. They paid her $3 million, and they saved $2 million on the Kelly Harper buyout because they did it after the fact where they would have had to pay another $2 million. So they actually got her for $1 million something. I think that was a bargain for them. Don't know what all went into it, but your outlook on that, Marcus?
Well, I mean, there's a couple ways you could view it. There was a percentage that it expected Tennessee to put on, go to the Final Four, find a big-name coach with proven D1 success, and bring them in. They're disappointed. There were some. I think it's a really interesting pick because, number one, the timing it was kind of a feeling going around late Saturday, early Sunday. So this wasn't a deal that was just worked out randomly. I mean, there was some work that went into it. It wasn't like a bump and meet at the Final Four. But when you're looking at what Tennessee did originally in the 1970s, coach from a small school at another level and brought her in and gave her the program. And then, of course, they made her scrap and fight for everything she got for about 10 years. But it's kind of a similar pattern. You're going to somebody who has 1 year quickly in Division II and seeing if they can replicate that on a bigger scale. Maybe that works. Maybe it doesn't. It's certainly a novel approach. I mean, usually you have that hot coach that everybody wants. That's got a Cinderella story, but that's not what we got here. This down and grabbing somebody and putting them in a premier position.
Donnie Moore, UT in other sports has gone to coaches that were not on the Division I level. Bruce Pearl came in here.
He did.
And
that's true. And you know, look at what Tony Vitello's done with the baseball team.
And that's what I'm saying. It makes a kind of crazy sense if it works.
If it works,
that's
right.
Works.
Yeah.
Step back and take a wait and see approach right here, I think, because because we don't know what she's going to do.
Well, she's got an empty.
Sure does.
Has to be a good recruiter.
she's going to have to get some players in here.
Yeah. She's going to have to get everybody on her side.
Yeah.
And we're just going to have to let her, because like you said, she doesn't have much to work with right now.
Yeah. Everybody will be with her. This isn't the most Dwayne Easter, the most patient fan base in America here.
Absolutely,
no,
not.
it's not.
It's not. They're not patient in any of the.
But like Marcus said, it could be another Pat.
I will wait and see, and see what the first indication is going to be. What kind of does she bring in? How do they shape up recruiting? How do they shore up what's going on right now? How quickly do they jump on some of these decommits from future classes that Kelly had that are now gone, that were 2 or 3 years out? Do they jump back on those, or do they let
the money? Fly. I don't know how big a play money came into it. I think they got a bargain with her personally, money-wise. Looking at a big name somewhere, you're going to have a much bigger buyout. Aren't
Sure.
You? No, I'm sure that entered into it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. And frankly, I didn't expect us to be able to afford, not to afford, but to find a big.
It's the downside of when you used to, the fan base still wants Pat to be coaching. That you're still going to be living with that comparison of or that, because that's your expectation to meet.
It's in the shadow of Pat.
Do you think looking at all the programs here at UT, do you think that the fan base and maybe some people thinks that this program, I know expectations are high here. Are they really to that level here? I mean, are the expectations are really a lot higher? Because it seems like every time we get, whether it's in football, and of course, Rick Barnes was a home run. We got him.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a name right there, but there wasn't anything open out there. That's one of the reasons we got him, because of the timing.
Yeah.
The timing on the deal. And maybe that's kind of a little bit above what they really are here in all their sports.
I think the fan base has high expectations, but Tennessee, in most of those, Tennessee has proven that they are capable of winning in that particular sport. And the difference, you can't be the best forever. I mean, even Alabama loses to Michigan in the semifinals, So you're not always going to be there. I think the expectation with basketball will need to come down that you don't have to beat UConn or South Carolina or Stanford every year, but you need to beat them on a consistent enough basis. Because they want to be at that level. But baseball fans want to make the SEC tournament. They want to be a contender. They don't want to be fighting for the last spot in. That was not where Tennessee wanted to be. Men's basketball, who knows what the fan base expects at this point, but I mean, come on. They wanted that level of in the tournament.
Yeah.
They wanted to be on that side of the line.
Yeah, I guess if you're looking at the Lady Vol program, I heard this a lot. This is one of the everybody wants this job in the country. It's got the great tradition here. The names that were thrown out there didn't really fit what they were saying about the program. Did anybody else sense that or not? Huh? Where that program is right now?
They weren't. And you know, you had Vanderveer retiring later on this middle, I guess a couple days later after the hiring was announced. And you look, you know, the rating and the whole Caitlin Clark phenomenon, and, you know, maybe women's basketball is turning a corner even beyond what maybe that's changing the landscape and everybody's trying to figure out where going up the hill or down the hill or stuck in the valley or am I on the mountain.
Coaching philosophy that she's got, high-octane offense. She points a game where she's been. Dwayne, defensive pressure. Sounds like a lot of Josh Heupel football right there. You know, a lot of points and
it sounds like it could be.
You got to get the players to do that, and you got to have some depth to do that. But that looks to me like, gosh, if you're looking at that, hey, they're going to score a lot of points, play good defense. That looks like a winning formula. Looks good on paper.
You got to have the players to do that.
Yeah.
And how many players have they got spots for that they can bring in? I mean, how many?
They've got, I'd say, as many as the men's got.
Probably.
And, you know, you gone and Rakia Jackson. I mean, those are two big losses right there for that pro. Two really big. But Danny White,
he saw something in her.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not betting against Danny White.
No, he saw something in her.
You know, he don't make many mistakes when he goes out there, and he gets track record's really good, and he really looks into things. So he's probably sitting there thinking, man, I've hit a home run right here. You know, coming in here, a young coach, an enthusiastic coach, and I'm feeling real good about all of this.
Again, let's wait and see.
Yeah. Hey, we'll take a timeout here, and when we return, Donnie Moore will provide high school scores and sports news. Eastern Sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons joins us with his feature Mark It Down. You're listening to the Goatee Sports Page, Blount County Sports Voice, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
It's payday, and on payday, you want to have access to your money right away. When you enroll for direct deposit at Knoxville TVA Employees Credit Union, your money comes to you with no waiting. It's the fastest and most secure way to get paid. Getting set up is easy. All you need is your account number and our routing number. Find out more at tvacreditunion.com.
Join us now.
Federally insured by NCUA. Some restrictions apply. Ask for details.
Since 1925, Anderson Lumber in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. But did you know Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store? You can stop in anytime and see our incredible kitchen showroom. From floors to cabinets and everything in between, Anderson Lumber's experts can help you design your dream kitchen. And then our install team will make it a reality. For anything home, we welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber, since 1925.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com. Merlin's Music World in Maryville is owned and operated by Dylan Davis and has been a fixture in Maryville since 1987. Guitars, amplifiers, lessons, sound system, and video system installations are products available at Merlin's. Merlin's also offers a 24-track digital recording studio featuring audio engineer Rusty Chambers. Visit Merlin's at 1920 East Lamar Alexander Parkway or call 977-0093. We all want our loved ones to be safe. Denso in Maryville is at the forefront of creating technology for safer vehicles. Join the automotive industry with Denso in a fast, challenging, clean, and safe environment. They offer great benefits and competitive pay, as well as a convenient on-site healthcare facility, cafes, fitness center, and more. Start your future now. Entry-level production positions start at $16 an hour for second or third shift. Visit densocareers.com/Maryville to learn more and apply.
Welcome back to the Goatee Sports page. It's time to bring in Donnie Moore here for some high school scores and news from around the sporting, from sport news from around the area. And Donnie, we have a lot of going on, even though we've had some inclement weather.
We've had some bad weather, and we've got a few scores to bring to you. We've our cache of scores is for this week, but we've got a few to bring to you. So let's go ahead and get started with our Mandy B Street Realty local scoreboard. Start off with baseball from yesterday. Let's start off with early in the week, Marcus, because it is one.
Yeah, this one's going in the books. And
that's right.
It turned out it's the only one they got to play this week, as it turned out. So let's go ahead and give them some credit for it, even though it was back on Monday night.
It was a good one. The first ever district win for the Eagleton Royals happened on Monday of this week. Eagleton defeated Gatlinburg-Pittman 3-2 in baseball. Congratulations to the Royals on their first ever district win.
Everything's a first.
It sure is, and that's a great job.
I know it's not on the scoreboard,
Gatlinburg-Pittman.
but Blount County Track Championships for this week.
They were.
And one of the neat things that it didn't strike me until I was talking to the runner afterwards, but Clayton Bradley has. So the young man was in like maybe the second or third heat, and he had a good run, but I hear behind me the coach say, "Well, you're in the school record book," and I turned around and looked at him, and it struck me. I was like, "He is. That's the first time anybody's run for the." Run that event, so his time was the new school record.
Absolutely, school record. Are falling all the way across the board over there. All right, we do have a couple of baseball scores. Heritage played South Doyle over at South Doyle. South Doyle took the win 4-3 over Heritage. Maryville hosted Knox Central. Win 5-4,
and you can read about that one in Sunday's paper because it got done so late. But if we say walk, it's exactly what Maryville did in the seventh inning, and
walk-off win for the Rebs.
You know, we talk about having that good eye and having that smarts in your head to realize what the situation is in the game, and that's exactly what Maryville did, and it paid off. They got some very timely walks with one out in the seventh.
Always helpful. All right, moving on to softball. We got a couple of scores for you. Where's Ripken, Tennessee? Marcus?
Cal Ripken Park at Pigeon Forge.
Okay, at Ripken. Okay, that's Cal Ripken Park. Okay. Alcoa played there yesterday, had a doubleheader against Pigeon Forge. They won that doubleheader in grand fashion with 2 shutouts against Pigeon Forge. 11-0, 10-0 yesterday. Alcoa is 21-3 on the year, rolling along in softball. They got a great softball team.
We knew this team had the potential to be good.
They have great pitching, Mike.
Yeah.
They've got a lot going on. Sarah's. I just hope the pressure doesn't build on them.
You got.
It's still a month. It's still a month to the postseason,
right?
And May. You want that dip to be
somewhere
around now. If
you want to build up to.
You got a great postseason. You got a great pitcher. You can play like.
They've got three or four good pitchers.
Where the guy back in his day had the pitcher and 3 fielders.
Mm-hmm.
Struck everybody out.
Continuing with some softball, Farragut beat Heritage. And at the Gibbs Invitational yesterday, William Blount beat Baylor 5-3, and then lost to Mount Juliet 6-4. And at airtime, William Blount was ahead of Anderson County 10-0 in the third.
Yeah, they were still at bat, but they had a 7-run third going when we went on the air. So we'll see how the Lady Govs do today. But right. I'm glad to see them. I mean, we're not seeing as many of tournaments, which I for one enjoy, but the big tournaments are still there, and I'd love to see the team.
In tennis, Maryville and William Blount are participating at the Hendersonville Invitational this weekend. We talked to Maryville.
Coach Burns in here
Coach Burns last week said they were going to the Hendersonville Invitational. Said it was a great chance to play some teams that they weren't necessarily familiar with. He was excited. He and his players were excited about going to the Hendersonville Invitational.
And it's one of those things they do that in golf. Well, they also have a Hendersonville tournament. About middle of the golf season.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good with some of those Tennessee, and understand that some of the things you can do here are going to be slightly different just because you have an elevation change, you have a different kind of wind situation than what you get here where it's always coming out of the west for us.
Right.
It's a little bit different in Middle Tennessee. It can come from 2 or 3 directions.
Yes.
So making those kind of adjustments and getting a feel for it, that's always good. And that does impact tennis, not as much as golf, as we saw yesterday at the Masters. Sports as well.
And it's a big tournament, too. They got a lot of teams to go up against it there.
Really good competition.
It is.
And it's a good mid-season test because you've got a measuring stick of where you before district tournament
Get
starts.
You ready for districts and regionals. You're right. Moving on to soccer, Heritage hosted Knox West yesterday and came out on the wrong end of a 1-0 score right there. Knox West's a pretty good team.
They are. It was an early goal. It was a great defensive effort by Heritage. They sacrificed a lot of offense trying to work that defense. With Coach Bennett about it. I think that was the first official varsity sport played on the new Lillard Field.
Oh, great. Outstanding. I'm sure they enjoyed that anyway.
I mean, they had Special Olympics out there Thursday, but I think this was the first varsity sport that was played on the field.
That's a beautiful field. At the Mountain Brook Invitational this weekend in Birmingham, Alabama. So they got a road trip.
That's a tough meet.
Yeah, it sure is.
You're going to find out some things about yourself down there.
Yeah, you will. You will. And Heritage is at the Farragut Invitational this weekend. So
when you go to a lot of West Knox schools, you're going to get a measuring stick for sectionals there.
Yes.
The meet Maryville's going to, that's where you're going to get a measuring state championship caliber, very similar to what you're going to see at the Volunteer Classic in a couple weeks in Knoxville.
Mm-hmm. We had one national letter of intent signed this week that we haven't reported on. That's Grayson Jones of Heritage High School signed with Pellissippi State for volleyball. So congratulations to Grayson to further her educational and athletic careers for attending Pellissippi State.
And that's another K2.
Yeah.
So Pellissippi State's doing well with getting some of the K2 players to come on over, and I wouldn't call it an extension of the club yet, but
Sure.
judging by their signings over the recent weeks.
Hey, that K2 is. We like to congratulate those athletes, and especially the ones that do so well in our county high schools, and so on. That's it for the Mandy B Street Realty local scoreboard, and we want to toss it over to our friend and veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons for his segment Mark It Down. And right after I'll tell you that you're listening to WKCE 92.5 FM and 1180 AM Mid-Century Radio. Marcus?
Well, thanks, Donnie. I think we need to move fast signs up here. I want to be appropriate at this point, but let's okay. We have another first.
We do indeed.
We do have another first because this is the first time we've had Eagleton softball on with us. So.
Right. Making history.
Another program first, and we're a part of it. Coach Beaton brought a couple of his players with him, and Coach, thanks for coming in on a Saturday. We've got 2 players to get up on Saturday and come hang out with us. So congratulations there. Tell us who you brought with you, and where they're playing and what they're bringing to the team.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us, first of all. We appreciate it. We couldn't make it last week, but we're glad to be here now. On my left is Allie Campbell. She's one of our bats second for us, and she's a good leader to have. I'm gonna hate to see her go. She's been with us since we started at high school. So even though she's a senior, she goes to Samuel Everett. She's been with us from the very beginning. And then on my right here is Kyla Long. She's a freshman this year. I'll say freshman, but she started almost every game for us as an 8th grader last year when we played just a JV schedule. So she's got a lot of innings under her. And bats third for us, and she does a great job leading our team from the circle.
Yeah, and this is where I'm going to. I told Coach before he came on, I was like, yeah, introduce the players. On the spot. I'm looking at the schedule. This week may not have been as kind, but y'all won 6 straight in between games. Your 2 games with Alcoa.
Correct. Yeah.
That's got to feel good to put together a run like that.
It does, and we've talked about. Look, this is with Alcoa. It's tough, and we knew going in. Our number one goal was that we're going to try to compete with Alcoa. But we want to at least finish second. If we can finish second, then we get to move on to region. And we get a chance at them again in the region if we get there. But, yes, I set the schedule up trying to get Alcoa away early, and I thought we could compete with anybody else on our schedule. And we have. And I'm super proud of how we've come together so far.
And you said the keyword traveling. I know Josh has written about this in the paper, but you're homeless right now, in a way.
To an extent, yes, absolutely.
Out front with a little tin cup raising funds, but the fields aren't ready at Eagleton Park yet. Can you tell us what is at the light at that end of the tunnel? What are you all going to end up with for next season? What when the homelessness ends?
Well, I want to say this first. Parks and Rec has been awesome. On in Sandy Springs before Everett was ready. They were working on it. So they have been to go close. And so we definitely appreciate that. It's exciting when we get our new fields in. Baseball and softball, we're going to have our own field. We'll have, our actually on field house right there with our dugouts and batting cages. We'll have a turf infield. So been a couple of days this week. Probably could have played had those fields because we got rained out last 3 days. But it's super exciting, and we're just hoping. And I know the people that are doing the construction, they're working their tails off to try to get. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, they're not liking the rain any more than you are right
now.
No,
it's tough. It's tough.
for the players, and Allie, I'll pick on you because you're the senior, but being on the road all the time has its own challenges, doesn't it?
It
like
does.
You don't have your own locker room to come back to. What's it like for the players? I mean, to be in this transition year?
It's definitely harder because you have the challenges of being at other people's home fields with their fans and all that kind of stuff. But I think as a team, I can speak for myself. I don't know about Kyla, but I've watched us improve as the season's gotten more in-depth. And I'm really proud of where we've came playing, not having a home field. So I'm sad that I won't get to play on the new field, but I think it'll be really nice for all the younger players.
So that's a possibility by being one of the first. I've got to think Kyla likes Everett. It's just a suspicion, but I would think that is a pitcher's ballpark because you are not going to see many balls put out of Everett. Is that true? Is that true?
I mean, I don't really like how far the fence is because, especially when we play a team like Alcoa, they can hit the ball. So, but Allie does a great job in center, and we have some pretty good outfielders. So I mean, it just all depends on like counting on your teammates and to be there to back you up, pretty much.
Oh, Coach, you put the shout out to Chris. I remember when Maryville was playing on that field, and it wasn't all that long ago. It presents its own challenges because if you put up one of those portable fences and shorten it, then you've got a whole set of challenges putting that thing up, taking it back down. Is it in the right place? But if you don't, an inside the park home run is there. It's a deep, deep center field for high school ball.
It is, and we've talked about it, and we thought, say, do we want to get a temporary fence? And I'm going to say, this young lady right here, there was probably two balls that would have been out in any field over the fence, and she ran them down and caught them. And so that was our advantage. And we just decided, look, we have max 8 games at Everett, and we just weren't going to try to worry about that. We trust our outfield, we trust Kyla in the circle, and we're just going to let it ride because we just thought it was more of a challenge for us to try to get it ready and keep up with it and find somewhere to store it than it was to trust our girls and just go with it.
I was cheating this morning when you all came in. I was looking at Game Changer and looking at the stats, and I'm looking down through the lineup, and according to that, Allie, accurate?
Yeah, it is. Her and our freshman catcher, Sarah Wilson's batting over 500.
519.
Yeah, they are. They're really swinging the bat well. We started swinging the bat really well about 5 or 6 games ago. Everything started clicking, and we've just gotten better and better and better. And averages started rising. Kyla's is coming, and our 5-hole hitter Paisley Bell's our first baseman. Her average is starting to go up. So it's finally starting to click, and we're excited about where we're headed.
Well, you've got, besides being a senior on a team that is playing its first varsity season, you're also at SESI. So in this co-op environment, challenge for the team as far as who are the leaders and who do we look? How does this team kind of fit together?
I think it's definitely challenging for both schools because the kids that go to my school, the kids that go to Eagleton, and besides softball practice, so it's kind of hard for them to connect. But I think we really do a good job at practice, talking to each other, and really helping each other out. I think that's really helps us in the long run, be a team and work together. And it started to show on the field. It's definitely started to show from our first scrimmage, which was rough. It was rough, but it's starting to show now where we're really coming together as a team.
I'm just going to make an observation, but maybe the advantage to not having a home field is all those road trips. That's a lot of bonding time on buses and doing homeworks and all sorts of things. To an extent?
Yeah, it does. Because we've got long trips to Pigeon Forge and Oneida, places like that. So they're like hour and a half, 2-hour-long bus rides. So we really get a chance to sit and just talk and not really have anything else to do but sit there and talk to each other.
So, Kyla, same thing kind of for you. What's the perspective like from, and Coach said you were playing last year as an 8th grader, but y'all are going up against teams kind of like the other sports, well established, where you're the pitcher on the other side maybe a senior, maybe has a lot of experience, and you're trying to kind of match her strike for strike sort of thing. Is it a difficult situation to prepare for every game?
It is definitely difficult because there's older pitchers, more experience. They have more experience than me. But it all kind of just comes back to, like, I wouldn't get this experience at any other school. So it's difficult, but it's not, because I have to think about, like, how much more just, like, experience I'm getting. So, yes, it's challenging, but also it's a good thing, too, yeah.
So, Coach, in your book this year, did you keep track of some of these things with football? And I don't think we did as well with some of the other sports, but, you know, as far as Eagleton's first varsity hit, first home run, I'm going to guess who might have recorded the first strikeout over there, but all those sorts of things. Is there a book somewhere that's going to be put away in the Eagleton archives here?
Well, you know, Coach Andrew Campbell over here, we've talked about that a few times. We'd say to the girls, hey, that's a record right now. That's a record right now. We haven't written anything down. We have everything in our books and on Game Changer. That's something we can go back and look at in the future. But, no, we've actually talked about that. It's pretty awesome.
Biggest challenge, you've got about 3 weeks before district tournament. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, about 3.5 weeks, yeah.
So between now and then, what do you feel like the team needs to be able to do to get themselves in position for the postseason?
Well, I have a lot of time to practice. We've got a lot of games over the next 3 weeks, and that's not a bad thing. I'd rather be playing than practicing. Got 3 district games next week. No, excuse me. We've got a doubleheader next Friday now with Oneida because we got rained out. So we got 5 district games next week.
Yeah.
And then we'll finish up with Pigeon Forge, I think, on the 25th. So we're going to be playing, and that's what we want to be. That's what we want to be doing through the weather or hold out. Defensively is the only area where we've really focused on in the last week or so, because beginning of the year we did really well. Last couple of weeks we struggled. We got 3 losses in a row, and it was defensively where we let down. We shore that up, we're going to be just fine heading into district.
So some of that unforced error type of thing, is that what you're saying you need to eliminate?
Absolutely. It's nothing. We make the hard plays most of the time. It's just the little routine plays sometimes that hurt us, a little pop-ups, a little blue. We're going to be just fine.
So I'm looking at this, and you can tell me if some of these are not up to date at the moment. First Baptist Academy on Monday, GP on Tuesday, AE on Wednesday, doubleheader with Oneida, Kings Academy on Saturday.
That's correct, yeah.
That's wow.
Hey, they're ready, though.
Maybe we need to shut them down now and get them out of here so they can go.
Having these 4 days off not playing, though, it's never – that's not – we practice, but that's the other thing that's hard for us, because when we practice, we have nowhere to go outside because we don't have a field when the fields are wet. So we'll stage it to school. Yeah. So we really can't get that effect. So, we want to be playing again.
And I think you're on board with a lot of people with that one. I think this has been a frustrating week for several teams.
Absolutely.
That had some things they wanted and some games. Yeah. And some that just wanted to get out and play. But
correct.
It's been kind of – there are a lot of people that haven't played since Monday because of all of this.
Yeah.
So we're going to put the girls on the spot a little bit. And we're going to let them talk about the team, maybe some of their teammates here. Who has the best nickname on the team? Who's?
No.
I think that means they can't say it on the radio.
Probably.
Either that or the coach has the best nickname.
That could be too.
That could be, yes.
So, pregame, who's got the best warm-up routine during introductions coming out, that sort of stuff? Who's got the best thing they do every game when they come out?
I mean, Kyla's she's probably got the best routine where she does. I don't know. Who do you think?
I don't really know. Y'all kind of do the same kind of pregame to get ready. So I don't really know.
Coach, do you have any banana routines that you got going on there? That'd draw the people in if you could put some of that out there.
It definitely might put some seats in the stands, but no, we're not going to do that. No.
So is Eagleton a 3-up, 3-down team at the start? Is there a different chant? What do you one yet?
I don't think there really is one yet.
Okay.
I mean, we'll do our D on 3, and then we'll say hits on 3, but that we don't really have a set something that we say between innings, but it's definitely in the works.
In the works, okay.
In the works.
So the biggest one, the distinction between all softball teams, is this a chanting, singing dugout, or is this a quiet dugout? Very much quiet. Okay.
Now, we will have our moments where we get up. We had a couple against Lenore City when we started rallying. We definitely got up in that game, but quiet. We're a little more quiet.
That is fine. I'm much more a fan of cheering rather than the singing that can get into people's heads and not ever leave. Not that I have
I'll agree.
Post-traumatic dugout syndrome or anything, but anyway. And Coach, given all you're balancing, I'm sure there's some shout-outs besides to Parks and Rec, that are helping out and doing some of those things to keep the team running and organized to help you out so you can coach.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't do it without Megan and Andrew Campbell. They've been there from the beginning, and I appreciate everything they've done for us and for our girls. Our administration has been great. They've worked with us, having to travel so much, and baseball's they've worked with us, making sure we can leave when we need to leave and do all that stuff. The parents, I know it's tough. Travel, and some of it's pretty far travel, but they're always there. They bring their kids on time, whatever the case may be. They help out getting us food and water, whatever we need. So they've been awesome. We couldn't do it without them.
And if I remember right, I want to say that the experience at some point.
Just a little bit. Mr. Dallin, he's long removed. He said he's definitely done coaching, but yeah, Mr. Dallin was in the day.
He was a very fun coach to talk to. I got to cover his last state tournament run, and that was a fun Heritage team and a fun trip for them. So that makes it fun for us to cover. But thank you all for coming in this morning. Like I said, Coach, your motivator, blue Eagleton Royal attire on a Saturday morning when they could be sleeping in. So I appreciate your help with this morning, and the same challenge we give to everybody. Back their trophies and talk about wins in the postseason. So you all will give that same challenge. So anyway, thank you and best of luck to you guys. Mike, we'll go ahead and turn the
Coach,
page.
I'm glad that Andrew Campbell is helping you out over there. He played for me.
That's what I heard.
High school.
Has he recovered from that
Is
experience?
he a calmer coach than I was, or he's pretty enthusiastic, or?
He's pretty calm.
Well,
we're both. That's
well,
why we get along
good.
so well.
I'm glad he didn't take after me, or he'd been in trouble there. But,
the players are glad of that too, Mike.
I'm glad that he is helping you out, and everything's going well over. He was a great player for me. I enjoyed coaching him.
Well, thanks for having us, guys.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Okay. Hey, it's time to turn the page, and when we return, it will be the Player of the Week segment. You're listening to the Goatee Sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Bluetick Tavern is home to the tastiest pizza in Blount County. Try our signature Broadway barbecue pizza, grilled chicken and red onions covered in mounds of mozzarella. Or sink your teeth into our one-of-a-kind chicken and bacon pizza, made with an olive oil base, grilled chicken, bacon, red onions, and covered in Brussels petals. The Bluetick Tavern also has salads, sandwiches, and the area's largest beer selection. Regularly recognized as the best pizza in Blount County, it's the Bluetick Tavern, located at 128 West Broadway in downtown Maryville. The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month.
Your newspaper? That's right. The Daily Times is your newspaper, tailored to where you live, emphasizing the things that affect you and keeping track of the people and players in our community. The award-winning Daily Times can be delivered each morning right to your door or inbox with the latest in local news and sports. For a 30-day free trial offer, call 981-1100 and begin enjoying your life, your times, every day with the Daily Times.
For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensonTire.net. Waters Equipment is your East Tennessee New Holland agriculture and construction dealer. Waters Equipment has been serving Blount County for 48 years and has 2 locations in Maryville for sales and service for New Holland equipment. Offering shop and field service for trucks and equipment of all brands, Waters offers equipment rentals for New Holland skid steer, Mini X, and tractors. Call 238-9000 for your rental needs. That's 238-9000. Waters Equipment New Holland. Excellence in service.
Since 1925, Anderson Lumber in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. But did you know Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store? You can stop in anytime and see our incredible kitchen showroom. From floors to cabinets and everything in between, Anderson Lumber's experts can help you design your dream kitchen. And then our install team will make it a reality. For anything home, we welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber, since 1925.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards along with the rest of our broadcast crew, and now it's time for the Goatee Sports Page Player of the Week segment, featuring Daily Times senior reporter Marcus Fitzsimmons, sponsored by Anderson Lumber Company, where quality service is always a priority. Proudly serving Blount County for over 75 years. Well, Marcus, I'm not going to give you time to get your breath, so.
I'm okay with that, and I will confess. One of them is in Alabama, and I didn't the other one until last night, so we will have her on later in April. But those were going out to our fastest runners from the Blount County Championships, and I will save their introductions till we can give them their signs. What I wanted to talk about was something that everybody was talking about. Has been a source of conversation during the rainouts this week. And that was from the TSSAA, our favorite people.
Oh, yes.
The fount of wisdom that lives in Murfreesboro.
TSSAA and the NCAA are our 2 favorite entities, aren't they?
Oh, they are. Prefaces, but given the recap, during the Legislative Council meeting, they first approved a brand new procedure to add sports for high school competition. It is an emerging sport rule. And what it requires, 15% of member schools who currently have the sport or that sport in its first school year. And that there will be no postseason competition. There can be some, but there will be no state championship the first season.
Gotcha.
The first season will be used to help organize and arrange. Continued. So after approving, they turned around and the very next thing they did was approve girls flag football as a new emerging sport for spring for the 24-25 school year.
I thought you were going to say the first thing they did after approving this rule was we went and played a round of golf.
No, that comes 30 minutes later.
Oh, okay.
But so
they play those rounds of golf when a coach gets thrown out.
Well, that was one of the other things. They did raise the fines for being thrown out of a game.
Greens fees have increased.
Was implemented sporadically and not consistently across the state is if you get a double yellow card ejection from soccer, it will now count as the same as a red card. You won't be able to play the next game.
Ah, okay.
So that was
equal one red.
It's like 2 yellows you can be removed. It's the same as a red as far as the next game suspension. So they've added flag football, girls flag football for spring of 25 as an emerging sport. I cannot believe that we had that many girls flag football clubs in the state of Tennessee.
Emerging, is that the same as sanctioned?
Have a state championship its first year. You have to prove yourself the first year.
Okay, I got
Does it have classes?
Classifications, regions, and districts are all subject to depending on who fields the team and what they find the first year.
Got you. So it's experimental.
It's basically they didn't want to call it experimental, so emerging sounded
emerging,
better.
That does.
Right now,
emerging. It's like weeds and grass.
Yes. You have around Williamson County and a similar number around Nashville and Davidson County schools. Outside of that, that's all the ones that are actually right now. So and
confined to the Middle Tennessee area.
Not coincidentally, they are all part of the Tennessee Titans. Is pushing flag football and wants to add it as an Olympic sport and all that sort of thing. But to get to the 15% requirement, they count the schools that say they will have it. So Hamilton County schools in next spring, and Knox County has committed to fielding 14 teams next season.
Really? Wow.
Going from 0 to competitive teams in less than a year.
In under a year.
What? Well, let me ask you this: are they going to have pickleball in high school coming next?
And that's not the Fast Signs promo. That just don't give them ideas.
He's got to cover that.
Well, I see it coming.
I mean, and it just bothers me in a couple fronts because, number one, we just went through like a process to get lacrosse to be added.
Yeah.
So I can get why they wanted to set up a process. But the bar feels kind of low that we're going to immediately turn around and put in girls flag football and become the 10th state to somewhat sanction it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel like
that's pretty quick.
It feels like they could have done rugby with more success than they could have flag football. But
it's girls. Now, should I have said that?
Well, it's not that.
I don't know.
My other problem with it is I understand why it's in the spring and not the fall. But it seems like it would be, even though it's another demand on field time, female athletes available in the school at that point in time, because in the spring you've already got the softball team we just had on here, you've got track, you got tennis, you've already added lacrosse for next year, and now you're going to put a flag football team in the spring as well.
Why would they be doing it in the spring and not the fall?
Because they don't want to. The field schedules are already filled with JV, middle school, high school. The practice time. They don't want to commit to another team using those facilities at some of those.
Yeah, but it would be a great opportunity. Ball game right before the high school plays their football games on Friday nights.
That would be too much sense, and
Yeah.
I think the NFL's impact as to when they will have players available to help with their established flag football program is dependent on it being in the spring. So that's what there is being looked at, why they put it. But I just don't see the athletes available at a lot of these high schools to be able to have any interest in it whatsoever. And straw polling, I think if there were girls at one of our area schools that wanted to try to form a team, that the administration would listen, but I didn't hear anybody where the administration who's interested. It's going to be the other way around, where the students are going to have to show they want something rather than the administration looking like they had to add it.
Are there any girls teams around here even doing that right now?
No, there are no existing teams in East Tennessee. Everybody in East Tennessee is a promise. Is Chattanooga and Knoxville saying our schools will have one next year. We'll get it together, but they are not currently playing in any of the flag football leagues that filed paperwork to have their teams recognized.
One of the things you run into if you put it with you got track going on, you got softball going on, and then if you add football, you got to have numbers in football. I mean, you got to have some numbers to play flag football or regular football, whatever. Well, what you end up doing is those coaches are going to end up recruiting these kids because they're the better athletes that play in softball and they play in, they run track and field and so forth, or are involved in track and field, and then you're going to get some some animosity between coaches. The girls can say, well, I played softball, but I think I'll play this next year. I want to do that. And then there you go. You've got coaches competing for players, and you don't have the numbers. And it can cause
some problems. And this was something, and I wish I thought to call of our good buddy to check with this, because it came up. I don't know if they are adding these lacrosse officials from the existing club level into the officials association, or if they have guys who know how to referee, lacrosse. But I can't imagine, as thin as they got stretched with football this last year, that they have a whole set that can do a whole nother sport doing flag football.
Yeah.
I just find that to be a strain on. It's got to be a strain on the officials as well as finding. It just feels like it's better left alone at the moment, unless you just have an over come to you on your door, knocking on the door saying, we want to do a team.
Well, I remember when I was in high school back in the 70s, they had like powder puff, which was flag football for girls, but I think that was like in the early fall is kind of when they did that.
Fundraiser.
Yeah, it was a fundraiser.
Yeah.
Given the support that the NFL is throwing behind a wildly addictive and wildly supported thing. And
I think I can see it for Middle Tennessee. I don't see it getting past Cookeville coming this way, really.
Yeah, since the NFL. We don't have an NFL team here.
I don't think the players' reach can cover the state, and I don't think their impact can cover the state. And like I said, I just don't see, unless maybe if they will allow a co-op, and who knows what the rules are going to look like. Maybe you could field a team out of all of Blount County playing together, like how.
Yeah, a co-op team.
But I don't think you could. I don't think you're going to find 22 female athletes who aren't doing anything already in the spring. School to consider making it a
Absolutely.
competitive. Yeah.
Donnie, you need some tough girls. I think I think if I was coaching, I'd work with you pretty closely. I'd go, how many of them you got in ISS? I need some really mean, tough girls.
And some,
you know, and I'll start from there. You know, it might be a good thing. Turn them around on the football field.
and
you
some
know,
fast girls too. You need some fast girls.
You do indeed.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, see, that's interesting.
I didn't want to evolve in our Player of the Week segment into it, but it's just wow. It's one of those things. I just can't see.
I could see more pickleball than a.
I just can't see why we're going to try to bring new sports into existence. In
What
the
about
same
some cornhole? They thought about a little cornhole.
Well, yeah.
Mike, what did I just tell him about?
I like cornhole.
You're going to need 2 assistants.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Take us to a break and let's move on to something more pressing.
Hey, it's time for a sports page veteran Donnie Moore will be up. You're listening to the Goatee Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
We all want our loved ones to be safe. Denso in Maryville is at the forefront of creating technology for safer vehicles. Join the automotive industry with Denso in a fast, challenging, clean, and safe environment. They offer great benefits and competitive pay, as well as a convenient on-site healthcare facility, cafes, fitness center, and more. Start your future now. Entry-level production positions start at $16 an hour for second or third shift. Visit densocareers.com/Maryville to learn more and apply. Merlin's Music World in Maryville is owned and operated by Dylan Davis and has been a fixture in Maryville since 1987. Guitars, amplifiers, lessons, sound system, and video system installations are products available at Merlin's. Merlin's also offers a 24-track digital recording studio featuring audio engineer Rusty Chambers. Visit Merlin's at 1920 East Lamar Alexander Parkway or call 977-0093.
It's payday, and on payday, you want to have access to your money right away. When you enroll for direct deposit at Knoxville TVA Employees Credit Union, your money comes to you with no waiting. It's the fastest and most secure way to get paid. Getting set up is easy. All you need is your account number and our routing number. Find out more at tvacreditunion.com.
Join us now.
Federally insured by NCUA. Some restrictions apply. Ask for details.
Since 1925, Anderson Lumber in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. But did you know Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store? You can stop in anytime and see our incredible kitchen showroom. From floors to cabinets and everything in between, Anderson Lumber's experts can help you design your dream kitchen. And then our install team will make it a reality. For anything home, we welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber, since 1925.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for the Boyd Sports Spotlight, and we're going to bring Donnie Moore back in here. I still got that flag football on the mind and recruiting players. You know, when I was teaching school, the worst fights I broke up were girls. You know,
yeah.
You've been there too, Donnie.
I have.
mean, there have been
You're
some
right.
knockout. I could just see me now coaching girls flag football, and a fight break out in the cafeteria. Go up and say, "Have you girls ever thought about playing football?"
Huh?
You know what I'm saying? It just a whole new realm of things.
Yeah, there you go.
It sure does.
Anyway.
Some of the worst ones I've ever had were between girls.
Yeah,
too.
you're not kidding, boy. I tell you what. Yeah, I could have put a Could have really helped.
You better believe it.
Yeah. Well, Donnie, got a lot going on in sports.
Sure do, Mike.
Yeah.
Fast sign.
I've been waiting on that.
At a blustery Augusta National yesterday, Tiger Woods shot even par for the day. For the longest made cut streak, his 24th straight in the year's first major championship. Sitting at a 36-hole total of 1 over 145, well inside the projected cut line. 3 players share the lead going into today's play with a score of who is Tiger's playing partner, and Scotty Scheffler. Round 3 is underway as we speak and is covered and broadcast by CBS Sports.
Yeah, we still got a chance.
Yesterday, because Tiger played in the more, he had, even though he was finishing his, he had like maybe an hour break and he was back out there.
Yeah.
So he was one of the first ones playing the second round.
Yes.
And, he was getting done, and they're like, well, I don't know, +1. Now, that cut line, looking at this. Then the wind picked up. By the time +5 and jumped to +6 at the last moment, I was like, Tiger has nothing.
Yeah, just
about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, he was looking at that going, you know what, guys, I'm fine.
He's fine.
Waiting, saying to
well, he wasn't real consistent. He had some birdies. He played a pretty good round.
Yeah. He played a good round, and I think that's one of the who have played down there, but not in the Masters, but have played on that course.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest challenge until you've been down there and walked around, sort of, but like there's a lot of wind shelter with the rises around that course. So you can be on some of those holes and you don't feel any wind whatsoever, but you can look up at those trees and see that if there's a wind up there that you're hitting in.
At ground level, it's not.
At ground level, you're not feeling it, but your ball is going to go up there and going to do some weird things.
Oh, yeah. 2, the team announced yesterday. Peterson had overcome prostate cancer, and in 2018, he revealed that he had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. He was with the Yankees for 9 years, and per the team, this is a quote, along with longtime teammate Mel Stottlemyre, Peterson was part of a devastating one rotation. His impeccable control was among the best in the majors, end of quote. Peterson and signed with New York as an amateur free agent in 1963. Reached the big leagues in 1966 and immediately became a mainstay in the Yanks rotation. Innings as a rookie, and from 1966 to 1973, 231 innings per year for the club. Peterson was traded to Cleveland in a 7-player deal that New York in 1974. Of 3 seasons in Cleveland, then his final major league home was with the Texas Rangers in 1976. Shoulder trouble ended his career at age 34. Peterson he retired with a 3.30 ERA in parts of 11 Major League Baseball seasons. He's probably most well known.
I remember that.
You remember that?
Right. Yeah,
I think that was in
Johnny
76.
Carson made a whole week out of that.
He sure did. Yeah, Carson had a field day with that, didn't he? It wasn't a crazy thing. Said it's just a love thing.
I guess it was in the headlines. For
Oh,
a long
it sure
time.
was.
Yeah.
Well,
and he was more known for that than he was as pitcher.
He was. The Yanks said he was a great pitcher, though.
Yeah. And Easter, a 7-player deal.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
You know, Joe Garagiola, used to talk about when he got traded from the Pirates, went to the Cubs, and both of them were cellar dwellers. Headlines the next day said, 15-player deal? Guaranteed to hurt both clubs.
Wow.
Well, listen to this. Ippei Mizuhara, former translator who is allegedly involved in the gambling scandal presently gripping Major League Baseball, turned himself in to authorities in California yesterday. He had a court hearing in which no plea was entered, and Mizuhara was subsequently released on a $25,000 bond. And he was instructed to have no contact with Ohtani. Additionally, Mizuhara's arraignment is scheduled for May 9th. Charged on Thursday with bank fraud for allegedly stealing $16 million from the Dodgers superstar.
He's in trouble. He could get 30 years.
He could.
30 years in prison for that.
Wow.
Yep.
And, it's almost baffling to me that a player's got that much trust in somebody that.
Yeah, kind of blind trust.
It's kind of really baffling that you don't have any more awareness, it seems, about your money.
Language doesn't translate, but the numbers are the same.
Yeah.
Like if you when you're looking at your statement and you're like, huh.
They're not looking at their statement.
Yeah.
Apparently.
It feels to be here that are not.
Ohtani must have more money than he knows what to do
Well,
with.
he does. Even after paying your agent and your lawyer, whoever,
$16 million.
you should be able to look at your bank balance and be like, huh.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel right somehow.
Yeah.
Well, remember from McAdams Park in Wichita, Kansas?
I do remember this.
I thought you would. The statue was later found, burned, and destroyed. The original was the broken off feet and cleats on the base made of bronze. Well, long story short, since then, Major League Baseball has agreed the thief/vandal was arrested. The original statue, the base, and the cleats are being donated, which was founded in 1990 by former players of the Negro Leagues, including Kansas City Monarchs Alfred Surratt, Buck O'Neill, Larry Lester, Phil Dixon, and Horace Peterson. That's a feel-good story right there.
Yeah. Remember him?
Yeah.
He had a lot of memorabilia from the Negro Leagues.
Yeah.
He's a fantastic guy.
Yeah, I thought that's pretty good human
Stuff.
Well, or put
The new statue-
steel rods in it or something so they can't off down there.
Because, I mean, I don't. It's still. I think there's still a little bit of how in the world the truck
He did. He tied it to
and
the
ripped
truck,
and
pulled it off. Yeah.
But it feels like that shouldn't be an option. Like you should have a concrete bench or something in the way.
Yeah,
Keep
no
that
doubt. Last article, William Byron won the Cookout 400 last weekend to lead a 1-2-3 sweep for Hendrick Motorsports on NASCAR's shortest track. Mike, you know what it is? Martinsville, Virginia.
Barely. Nice car.
He knows IndyCar. Kyle Larson took second. It was third. Tomorrow, the boys go racing at 3:30 p.m. at Texas Motor Speedway.
Yeah. Testing. They had 2 days of testing in Indianapolis, and it rained out most of the 2 days, but they did get some activity on day one. Kyle Larson is driving for Aero team in the Indy 500. He's going to do the double. He's going to do the Indy time at Indianapolis last week.
Really?
Watch Kyle Larson at Indianapolis in May this year. He's going to be a big story.
I like it when guys do the double.
Yeah. Good for racing to have him there.
Yes, it is. It sure is. Well, one mentioned it before. Muss is out. Cal is in at Arkansas.
That was kind of a shocker,
It was.
that especially this time of the year. He had the meeting with the athletic director Barnhart.
Yeah,
had the meeting, and
Mitch
it
Barnhart.
looked like everything. No, he going to Arkansas.
But isn't there a lot of money in Arkansas? You got the Walton, the
Have you ever been to Fayetteville, Arkansas? I'm telling you, there, and you compare. You're in big trouble down there in Fayetteville.
Maybe
If
he's
you
gonna
don't
get
like
some money out.
fish, you better like to read.
There's nothing there. Golf course. Bella Vista's close to there. Big, maybe he'll buy a home in there.
Money down there somewhere.
Yeah,
He's got is a big contributor to Arkansas.
And Kentucky hired the Pope.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
they hired the Pope.
Domino's for biscuit.
Yeah, you former player.
Did you think Pearl had a chance at that job?
Well, there was some talk about it, but
you know what's shocking to me, and I didn't realize it. He will be the only coach in the SEC who is coaching of the 16 schools. He is the only one who played at the school he is coaching.
Yeah,
that's kind of always expect there to be a couple of them.
Yeah, you would.
No,
you would think.
Yeah,
I hadn't thought about that.
We're so far away from that now.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's all for this week's Sports Signs. All right. Now let's bring the Boyd Sports back to you, Gunner.
Hey, it's time to bring back in our Goatee Sports Page crew. Donnie Moore, Blount County Hall of Famer, Marcus Fitzsimmons, veteran sports writer, and ex-Alcoa Tornado basketballer Dwayne NCAA tournament. And I know UConn, Dwayne went ahead and won their second in a row. Boy, they just seem to me to be head and heels above everybody else. But I couldn't help to sit there to watch the basketball games and think how big that Purdue-Tennessee game was, because I think Tennessee would have taken care of business against North Carolina State.
Yeah.
I do.
I do too.
But as far as taking care of business against Connecticut, I don't think so. But I
do.
Really?
But Edie, he still got away with a lot of that. Oh
yeah.
Even against Connecticut,
Always does.
I mean, it's like amazing how Spencer guy for Connecticut was the game. That was a game changer. I thought played. So.
Marcus, UConn, and Danny Hurley up there. They got a dynasty going. Heck, they lost all of them last year and came back and won another championship. Are we looking at another dynasty up there at UConn? Just a
if he can do a reload again, then they'll be looking at their wallet, because if he has to do is recruit and reload year after year, it doesn't even need guys to stay around. Everybody else is going to say, well, we could bring him in here and he can do that for us. Let him build a team in 3 months that can win national championship.
Yeah. Donnie, I'm sitting there going, has anybody seen Purdue's guards? I mean, I'm looking all over the place for them. I never saw them.
Yeah.
They totally took away Purdue's guard. Well, they didn't take any. They didn't get any. They didn't make any 3 points. They didn't have any three. They took them completely out of the game. I thought that was a big part.
No, they took some, but they missed them so badly. I don't think they counted as shots.
Yeah, they were more forces than they were good.
Something to count as a shot, not a pass.
Yeah, and I think they got Zach Edey a little bit tired.
I think they did
there
too.
Late in the game. He just he didn't look the same. Missed a.
Did you watch them without the ball? They're just constantly moving.
Got ahead of you and played the clock. Put the pressure on you.
Yeah. So yeah.
with their defense. Too.
They did. They did frustrate him. I mean, he missed some
I agree.
shots. You know, he wasn't as commanding he was against us. But
First half, played for the most part in the tournament outside of the early games. It was fairly close to the first half.
yeah,
The start of
the first half.
Yes, but the
Sure
start
did.
of the second half, they just, I don't know what they told their team at halftime. And we're talking about the Illinois game. What was it, a 35-0 run to start the second half? Alabama, they got off to a great start the second half, and then it just continued. And then Purdue, I mean, it was amazing what they did the second half. It's just like they got their second win, Marcus.
yeah.
They really did. And you're right. Move around. And, you know, again, he took like maybe 30 seconds out of that entire game. But, you know, you're just watching them and you're like, man, they are just wearing them out.
Yep.
It's not like they're going on that 20-0 run. See Purdue faltering.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just wearing out.
Yeah.
And you could see UConn just getting stronger. And then they did exactly what we thought, well, some of us said Tennessee should have done. They went small around 80. They went with 5 guards and gave him a layup.
Listen, they were pretty content to let Edey do his thing.
Yeah, he got his points.
They didn't double him up much. You know, they just played him in there. 40 fine, but we're not letting anybody else have anything.
But he got frustrated too. And I don't think he had as many assists in that game.
No,
either,
yeah,
He didn't have
they have him
any,
covered. They had him covered on the perimeter like a
Exactly.
blanket.
So
There
he-
wasn't anybody for him to
He
throw.
was.
Purdue in the paint, and they controlled the boards, and I mean they beat him up. And Indiana fans on Facebook before the game, the Purdue fans were saying, "Hey, you know, this is the year, boil her up." And then after the game was over with on Facebook, all the Indian boil her down. That's all they put on. Anyhow.
So there's an up and down involved because all from Vanderbilt was anchored down. I've never seen anchor up.
Boil her down. Yeah.
So is that like a record this year too, as far as
Oh yeah, the point differential.
point differential? I mean,
Yeah,
it was
double figures every game.
It was amazing.
Double figures every game.
Think about it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's hard
Well,
to do.
But you think about our players of the year. Both made the championship game and both lost. Where they were the centerpiece with Edey and with Caitlin Clark. They both went to the finals, but a better team beat them.
Yeah, exactly.
On the women's side, South Carolina defeated Iowa, and Iowa got it down within 3 a couple of times right there toward the end of the game. They just couldn't get shots to go down. To fall, and South Carolina prevailed. That's an unbelievable story, 38-0, and to think maybe we would have had a coach still over here,
Yeah,
but
that's true.
38-0, and they were the 5th women's program to complete just an unbelievable run for them, and they just seem to reload it. That kind of resume where you're winning a national championship makes it a lot easier for Dawn Staley and that program to coach or to recruit. Huh?
It does, and I'm telling you, I don't. They're amazing.
Yeah.
That's an amazing team, an amazing program, and they just, like you said, they just reload.
Yeah. Well, her name
they
was
lost.
Her name was in for the Kentucky job, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, time in history outdrew the men's, I think, by about 2 million people.
Yeah.
Game it did.
And I'm sure that Caitlin Clark had a lot to do with that, and the fact that South up right there for them. They couldn't have asked for a better situation.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I'll ask you the same question. Is South Carolina in the midst of a dynasty there in Columbia?
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt about
Yeah.
that.
And
The only thing you can say is what'll make it interesting is to see what Texas to the league will do as far as and what that does scheduling wise.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes it more of a challenge, but
And I think it's unbelievable that Connecticut and South Carolina are having these runs in basketball because of the parity, Dwayne.
Yeah. I mean, and UT's got a long way to go to get back up to the top of the mountain, because line and UConn.
Yeah, what are we going to call them in women's basketball? Because it's not the Blue. Because it's not Kansas, North Carolina, Duke. I mean, it's a different set.
Yeah, it is.
But you're talking about the Tennessee, Long Beach State, and Auburn. But those storied women's basketball programs, Connecticut, Texas.
Yeah,
but you got about 8 to 12, depending how you count. But they don't have.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what we're going to call them, but
yeah,
if we're going to say. We got to come up with a pair.
And I don't know where Stanford's going. Tara Vanderveer, she stepped down. Sort of in Tennessee, they're looking for somebody out there. So we'll see what happens there. But Donnie, hats off to Caitlin Clark. What a career she had at Iowa. Everybody. Clark, I heard so many of them on TV. So I always want to be like Caitlin. And I looked at my wife and said, no, they don't, because they're not going to practice. And all the sacrifices that Caitlin Clark
I'm
made.
wondering why she's not coming back next year.
Yeah.
I mean, she could probably make money.
She's going to make her NIL is going to be pure advertising, marketing dollars. They won't have to go through the NCAA dance of the NIL.
She's going to the Indiana
Really?
Fever, and I think they've already sold out to the place in season tickets already.
Really?
They have.
Pretty much.
They have.
So, well taken care of.
Who's the highest paid?
I think she's scheduled to make like $72,000.
Yeah. And you know what? That's not far from home, is it? Iowa to Indianapolis.
It's a great fit for the WNBA because they don't.
That game sort of mirrored the UConn game in the fact that I just thought South Carolina wore down Iowa.
Yeah, South Carolina's got some athletes.
They really. And they got Iowa rushing right there, some shots and so forth right there toward the end of the game. But I think it was a great NCAA tournament, great Final Four, and
sure was
great series and so forth, and very enjoyable. The bowl prediction segment will be up. You're listening to the Goatee Sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Bluetick Tavern is home to the tastiest pizza in Blount County. Try our signature Broadway barbecue pizza, grilled chicken and red onions covered in mounds of mozzarella. Or sink your teeth into our one-of-a-kind chicken and bacon pizza, made with an olive oil base, grilled chicken, bacon, red onions, and covered in Brussels petals. The Bluetick Tavern also has salads, sandwiches, and the area's largest beer selection. Regularly recognized as the best pizza in Blount County, it's the Bluetick Tavern, located at 128 West Broadway in downtown Maryville. Waters Equipment is your East Tennessee New Holland agriculture and construction dealer. Waters Equipment has been serving Blount County for 48 years and has 2 locations in Maryville for sales and service for New Holland equipment. Offering shop and field service for trucks and equipment of all brands, Waters offers equipment rentals for New Holland skid steer, Mini X, and tractors. Call 238-9000 for your rental needs. That's 238-9000. Waters Equipment New Holland. Excellence in service. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at StevensonTire.net.
Your newspaper, that's right. The Daily Times is your newspaper, tailored to where you live, emphasizing the things that affect you and keeping track of the people and players in our community. The award-winning Daily Times can be delivered each morning right to your door or inbox with the latest in local news and sports. For a 30-day free trial offer, call 981-1100 and begin enjoying your life, your times, every day with the Daily Times.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for this week's Bold Prediction segment. I'm here with Donnie Moore, Marcus Fitzsimmons, and Dwayne Easter. And before we get to some bold prediction picks, I want to talk a little bit about Tennessee basketball that I didn't have time a while ago. Of course, Tennessee made it to the Elite Eight this year. The Vols ended the season ranked number 5 in the country. Dwayne, you've been around here for quite some time. Was this the greatest Tennessee basketball team that they've ever had over there?
I think it could very well say that, they were very close to going. And they had a really good year, and people got behind them, and Connect had a fantastic year. Those special years.
It all fell in place, really.
It all fell in place.
Yeah, and they played Purdue right down to the end.
Got blown out. It was a close game.
Exactly.
So,
Marcus, greatest Tennessee basketball team of all time.
I think it'll be talked about, but I don't think. I mean, memory harmony about it. There's no Ernie and Bernie to remember. There's no. You got Dalton Connect, and you have to wonder how long it is before people really start misspelling his name after he leaves. And then ECT in 10 years. People aren't going to remember that it was spelled K-N-E. So, I don't. To me personally, it's not. It's going to be. It's in the top 5 team, but it's not the best.
So you don't. Over this team, there's still that. Gosh, we had the great year, but about all this.
I enjoyed this season, and I probably enjoyed it as much as the last Elite Eight team, and I probably enjoyed it as much as watching one of DeVoe's last team. But it's not the best ever to me, just simply because it's the air ever are higher.
Yeah, Donnie Moore. SUT 18.
I don't think I'm ready to start calling it the GOAT. Best 3 teams of all time to me. But I can go back and remember some of the top 3.
I think since I've been here, it's probably the greatest basketball team that I've seen. Ray Mears coached over there 15 years, didn't he? But see, the rules were different, so only a couple of those teams got to go to the NCAA. It was hard, to get by Kentucky every year. So we don't know how many of those teams, the 6 and Rupp's Rumps came in here undefeated, and Tennessee beat them, and they got in the NCAA tournament, and that's the team that lost to Texas Western, in the final game. Could have gone if they got a turn. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So you got those all those 15 years are pretty well knocked off for the most part. But since I've been down here, I think this is the best team that I've seen at UT. Portland, I thought, well, they need some wing scorers, and they need another guard, to back up Ziegler, and then Jonas A2. I'm going, really they need a little bit of everything. It's kind of hard to put a pinpoint right on what you need when you only got
Ziegler's the only one left.
You got Ziegler left, Meshack, and you got Gaines real time, and then you're looking at Carr or Stella, and that's had some limited play, but you're looking at almost half your roster being overhauled here.
Yeah, It's going to be interesting how they come up with these players and where they find them at.
I just have this feeling that you had one forward leaving, thought he was going to be the backup again, not realizing that the starter. I think you might see some change of heart there, possibly if UT is willing to listen to that. But it's going to create the biggest problem. It's not going to be next year. It's going to be the year after. Is you're going to have to recruit a point guard. You're going to have to recruit and bring in a true point guard because nobody's going to transfer in the portal to be a backup. So another ACL tear, you're in real trouble because you don't have any scoring and you don't have a point guard at the same time in one blow.
Well, you're a little bit like James. Remember, we didn't know where James was going to come back last year. Remember, it was a late deal with him, and he said, "Well, you know, they didn't have a scholarship. You know, they had to come up with money somewhere else to, you know, to get him on in there." So I guess you never.
I think you had to do a couple more commercials for First Tennessee or something.
Yeah. Hey, let's get to some bold predictions. Quick on these. We'll see how many we can get through here. I'll start with you, Dwayne. Tennessee basketball finish in the top 10 next year. Basketball.
No, not happening.
You're not believing in any.
You're left we didn't know about?
Well,
no. They played as a one-man offense.
You know, what I'm seeing next year right now, I'm seeing a lot of teeth pulling next year. I'm seeing that going back to pressure defense and, you know, the chess match game, you know, and that type of, you know, we're going to try to hold them in the 50. Yeah, I think we're looking at that right now unless he can come up with.
I don't see that happening at this point.
I don't either. I believe in Rick Barnes, but I think this is a little bit beyond. How about an Elite Eight? Being in the top 10.
I'm hoping to make the Elite Eight of the SEC tournament.
Dwayne's over here laughing. I want to tape this because I really believe in Barnes. Okay. I really believe in him. But
it's too early to say, Mike.
No, it's not.
Too early to pick.
No, it's not.
I believe it. Okay, I will say no.
No.
Going to work out. We don't know what their roster's even going to look
like. Well, that's what's so fun about this.
Yeah,
this is about loyalty and trust right here.
Because if we were doing this last year at this point, we wouldn't have known about Vescovy, we wouldn't have known about James, we wouldn't know about Connect.
Right here, are they going?
No, absolutely not. They're not making the Elite Eight of the SEC.
Donnie?
I'm going to say not yet, and if you abbreviate that, that is "niet," and in Russian that means no.
Well, we go to the next one.
I don't. Is it crazy?
Is it as crazy as the first two?
Will Tennessee win the SEC regular season championship next year?
Well,
at least these are yes.
There's nothing in there. Ray didn't slip in a cigar or something, did he?
Listen. I remember one year where they had Tennessee finish last, as we're talking in the SEC preseason, and they won it. They tied, I think,
This
that
is
year.
true. Miracles.
So we got a no on that one?
I'll have to say no.
No.
Mark?
I don't think so.
We're not got much hope, have we?
I got one more here. Now you just got to win the tournament. You play all year, and what do you think?
That's another no.
Brown.
Donnie?
Negative.
No, I got okay. Now this everything.
Good. Silver lining.
Silver lining. Does Rick Barnes, will he be named SEC Coach of the Year
Next year?
next year?
Well, if he gets 6 fantastic players, but I kind of no.
Nope, it's going to Arkansas.
Is there a choice? Nope.
That is all negativity right
telling
there. I
you.
thought you guys had a little bit of positive
We're
in you.
negative
Okay.
Neds today.
You
The
must see
easy-
negative.
I know
Asking
you
you
got
about-
the whistle, but
We got 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Good. Year in her first go around as the Lady Vol basketball coach.
I'm going to go out and say
Look at that.
Yes.
Donnie?
I think so too.
And I will say, it's always good to end the show on a positive note.
So you wanted to get the negative. You should be asking me about the football season.
Guys, it's been a lot of fun. We'll see y'all next week. Donnie, blow the whistle. Hey, that'll do it for today's edition of the Goatee Sports Page. Thanks for Aaron Ishmael back at Loud Media, our host of the Bluetick Tavern, and all our sponsors. For everyone here on the Goatee.
And that's the fun.